Yo, YouTubers, as promised, a bit of information on the possibilities of putting lighter strings on an electric guitar with a Floyd Rose. Well, this is, it's a Floyd Rose special, right? It's like the budget version, right? But anyway, same setup, isn't it, right? So, what have I done? I finally, last night, let's have it's the 1st of December today, isn't it? 1st of December. Time check. 16:48. Well, look, right. I finally cracked them, and one of the strings on, the set that was on this, the heavy strings that were on this guitar, they were Diodario's 10 to 46, right? I've spoken on earlier videos about it. I'll try and make this as quick as possible. The point I'm making is you can use 8s on these, right? Well, one of the strings popped out. The way they pop out from the saddles. You know what I mean? And I couldn't be bothered. I thought I'd already worn them in a bit, and they were a bit rusty. And I thought, okay, let's get all the strings off. I don't like wasting strings. You know what I mean? Never take them for granted. Never take a string for granted. And then I had new sets of strings to try out, right? So anyway, I couldn't wait to do it. Last night I took all the strings off and I got to work setting this up, right? Now, first thing I had to do was take a chance and take one of the springs out. My goal was to go from 10 to 46 gauge. This is for anyone who's got a guitar and they prefer lighter strings, by the way. Everyone uses heavy strings on Floyd Rose guitars, right? It's just one of them things, because they usually have the three springs in the back. But anyway, I changed to these, right, guys. I bought these Pro Steel, and you see the gauges, they're quite very light, extra super light. I mean, look at that. They're even lighter than the early Ernie Ball extra slinkies. 3 of the strings are lighter than the three of the strings in the Ernie Balls, right? I ordered these, and they're supposed to be quite magnetic as well, like Pro Steels. And because they were the Diodarios on the guitar when I bought them, and they seem to last them that, and apart from them popping out, you know what I mean, because they haven't been set up properly. So I thought I'd give these a try, Diodario strings, and get the 8s, right, gauge 8s. So I got these, right, stuck them on the guitar, and I'll take the camera off the tripod in a minute so I can show you, but that's completely level. It's perfectly level, right? The strings are all on, it's been tuned up. I've locked the tremolo and all that business. Right, I haven't played it in or nothing yet. I've only had to repair the guitar lead. The guitar lead went faulty. I went out today to buy a guitar lead, and the shop wasn't open. You know what I mean? One music shop in Birkenhead that sells guitar leads. So anyway, look what I did at the back. I've left this off so I can show you before. You see what you got to do? You got to take the middle spring out. And that's the best thing to do, is position the springs right at the edges like that, and it's the least tension possible from them springs, right? And then you've got this thing. If things don't work out, you can loosen this here, the screws in here. If it wouldn't have, I expected the tremolo to be like, I expected the tremolo to be pulling it back, like the tension. Even them springs with one removed, I thought they'd still pull the gauge 8 back, you know what I mean? If I left the 3 strings on, it would have just done that, pulled it back, right? But no, as I was tuning it up, it's balanced, right? Now look, I haven't put the thing on yet so you can see what I'm talking about. If I try and explain that, to people without showing it, that's all you've got to do, right? Put it on that's the most least setting. If it doesn't work out, you'll undo these screws here, you know what I mean? Loosen the tension. Pain in the arse, these things to set up, guys, honestly. But, like I say, I'll just show you. I'll play a little bit and these strings are really good, right, guys. They're quite lively, I suppose is the word, I've got on high volume and not my amp's over in the corner, obviously, but turn it up a bit, go ahead. But anyway, the tremolo is set up so I can go. I was panicking there in case I bet it'll pull up and the string snaps on camera. Now we're in tune, more or less. Now, you know the fact that when I said on the earlier video, on the heavier strings, it's harder to do these things, like, so it's a little bit easier. You do have to compensate, because that still moves. But there's so much less tension, it's a little bit easier, you know what I mean? I haven't got used to it yet. These strings are too thin at the moment, because I've been playing on the 10s, you know, it's horrible. But, sounds great. Some might argue. Got a bit more beef. A little bit hotter. I've lowered the pickup away from the strings. See, I found out there's like sponges underneath and they were a bit too bouncy, you know, I had to really push it down, you know, to get away from the strings. They were too high, too close to the strings. So like you say, 2 springs in there, right? And I'll do a close-up of the... Just look how good this bridge looks, guys. So you see, it stays in tune. Lighter strings, still in tune. All in tune, staying in tune. Okay, so sounds great. Tremolo's working fantastic, right? We've achieved a complete level. Let's get the camera off the tripod. Be a boring bastard, the Anorak. Anorak of the Millennia Award. Let's put the spotlight on. And the Anorak of the... Oh man, it went on its own. I don't believe it. Honestly, guys, you know what I just said? Put the spotlight on. It went on its own. This camera's got a fault in it, mate. And it went on its own. Can you see that? Watch, I'll turn it off. Now I said put the spotlight on and it went on its own. Now I've got to press the button now. Alright, now there you go. Now you see how level that is? Do you know what I mean? The level, it's got to be level there. That has got to be exactly level. You see how, what a guitar tech I am, mate. So, that was me goal. It was a bit of a gamble, really. It was a bit of a gamble. Let's turn the light off. It was a bit of a gamble because really I would have wasted the set of strings. My camera's changed again, hasn't it? The setting on its own. Like, I've got to get a new camera, you know, guys. This is faulty, you know what I mean? See where the background looks yellowish and now look, it's going back to white. Look, see what's doing? It's changing modes on its own. What's going on? Oh man, second-hand camera. Don't buy anything second-hand, folks, you know what I mean? You can't trust nothing, can you? This could be spiked, couldn't it, this camera? Paranoid psychosis kicks in. So anyway, that's the achievements. Getting the tremolo completely level, right? These gauge 8s with the 2 springs, perfect ratio, perfect. Right, so there you go, there's the answer. There's no one on YouTube. I typed loads of, you know, different search things saying, like Floyd Rose with lighter strings, Floyd Rose with gauge 8s, Floyd Rose with finer strings, extra slinkies, whatever. Not a single video on YouTube saying like, yeah, because most people go for heavy strings in the rock world, like, guys. And most people only use Floyd Roses if they're in the rock world, don't they? They're not interested. The country and western guitarists or the Hank Marvin fans or whatever, they would not want to go near one of these things. They're a pain in the ass, honestly. But they're worth it in a creative sense, you know what I mean? I'm thinking like more like, I'm not thinking of dive bombs or all. It's like, I'm thinking like, you know, where you sort of... Let's try these strings with the creamy pumpkins, eh? They feel like silk on the fretboard. Silk, it just feels like fine silk. And it takes a while to readjust to them, right? Boy, they're going to be amazing to play, you see. And there you go, there's the proof. You can use gauge 8s or extra light strings on a Floyd Rose setup. And there's not one other video on YouTube that says that, like, because most people into 8s or 10s. Or, I mean, Satriani's either 11s or 12s even or something, you know what I mean? He plays really heavy strings, right, Satriani. But he's got one guitar where he puts 8s on, like, as far as I know, and it's got a Floyd Rose on, so I don't know when he uses that or what he uses it for, but he does. I think that's for me, isn't it, Satch? It's that one's for me. So there you go, all perfectly set up. No problemos. I can put the cover on the back now because I've left it off to show the audience, you know what I mean. So, yeah, thanks for watching. And anything's possible, isn't it? Anything's possible.